All right, so at this point in our spot illustration project, we have two spot illustrations that I've demonstrated. Using Illustrator to make the line work nice and clean, and here I reverse the line work so it's white. And then taking that line work as an EPS into Photoshop and coloring behind it. Using soft edge duotone here. See those smooth gradations? And using hard edge duotone here. You see the crisp delineation between the light and the dark values. But each of them started with flat color, one solid color for each local color. And then I used some layer effects for the background, putting a white stroke around the imperial sun here, putting a slight white stroke and drop shadow in the Japanese rising sun here. And I also used layer effects to actually invert the line work and give it a slight drop shadow as well. So all of those are effects we can do in Photoshop. And because the line work was vectorized, it looks really clean, even as it's matching the resolution in pixels. It's just as clean as it possibly can be. Okay, what we're going to do now is play with these a little bit more. So if I open it up in Photoshop, in order to do the next steps with it, I need to turn off the backgrounds that I just had in to kind of play with its versatility. Turn off all the backgrounds. And then we are going to save it as a PNG. See, I'm glad I did that. I have something floating off to one side I don't want. It's in this layer, so let me make sure I erase that completely. All right, so we're going to save. First, I'll save it without that weird orange thing. And now we're going to say save as. A PNG, which will save the transparency for us. And if it's not allowing you to save as a PNG, make sure that your mode is RGB instead of CMYK. And if you have to change that, you just go up to image mode and say RGB. And I'm going to save it just to my desktop as a PNG with no background turned on. Okay, what's nice about that is a PNG is an online format, and it's only a one layer format. So when I open it up, I see everything is just one layer flattened together, but it supports transparency, so I have no background behind it. So this is the perfect format for a spot illustration, putting it onto a website or using it as a sticker or as something else. So I had each of you create a Redbubble page. Now I'm going to add work to that Redbubble page as a t-shirt or a sticker. And so I'm going to take that PNG and I'm going to upload it to all the different products that it can be used for. Because it's an internet format, it will load pretty quickly. And because it has a transparent background, it will work really well for these different kinds of applications. So let's look at pillows here. If I want to edit the pillow, I can shift its size on the pillow. And for Godzilla fans, I can pick a background color for the pillow. Let's see. Maybe a steely gray. I can move it up or down. Then I apply the changes and I'll see it as that product. There it is. The classic is a t-shirt, right? Nice t-shirt design. This scaling is based on the available resolution that you gave to the image. And this box here is what's able to be printed, so you can't let it go outside of that box. But then you can play with different t-shirt colors, different cuts of the t-shirt. I always like the heather gray or the dark gray. You can also play with, the different sizes and designs. Let's see. And then if there are products you don't want, though the mug's pretty cool, kind of as it is, you just will click disable for that. So as a coffee mug, maybe it's a little boring because there's so much white space. But as a travel mug, I kind of like that. So I might buy that. As a duvet cover, the problem with the duvet cover is at the resolution I have, at 100% resolution, it's still not very big. So if I wanted it to be printed the size of a sheet, I would need to upload it at an even higher resolution, which would be possible because I have an EPS line work and it would work cleanly, but I'm just not going to worry about that right now. So I want you to have some fun with this with your image. And you're really getting a sense of the versatility of digital design. And of course, if you're just bored with some of it, then just hit disable on those. I'm bored with phone cases. Okay, so now I'm good. Now I have to give it a title, and I'm going to say New Godzilla. I think you have to put stuff in sometimes, but let's see if I can just put design and illustration in, digital art in. And then this is the important part. Do you want anyone to be able to view this or just you? I'm going to go ahead and say anyone. Is it mature content? Definitely not mature. And then I think I'm going to make the sticker my default view. All right, so save work. It shows me that you can actually use one of your digital images in a practical way. Send it to a printer. And right now you can get 15% off if you wanted to order this for yourself. Okay, so there's my default view. That's the sticker of it. Let's say I like that best. This is the last thing you're going to upload. You're going to make a little screen grab of the product that your spot illustration is on. You do Command-Shift-4 and drag the box around. And now that's going to be the last thing I upload to PhotoBucket to show off an actual printed version, product version of my spot illustration. It could also be the t-shirt. Nice little t-shirt close up there. That you don't even need to do a screen grab of. You can just save the image as is. We'll get there eventually. They can also be printed on cards or on canvas. I love the throw pillows that they make. So I think I might want to edit that a little bit. It's a little too pinched to the corners. So we can always edit the work. So Redbubble has a very nice interface. The reason we use it is because you can make it private. You're not forced to sell to the public everything you put up, especially if you're not sure about its intellectual property. And I'm actually not that sure of the Godzilla thing, so I might make it private. That still means I can order my own work. Okay, so now that you've done that, we're going to get to the other exciting thing. Once it's a PNG, so I'm going to close my TIFF. I'm going to open up the PNG in Photoshop. Because now it doesn't have the vector line work or anything. It's just all together. We're going to do something really simple with it. We're going to look at its channels. So we go from the layer options. There's only one layer now. It's just a PNG. We go to channels, and we're going to turn off RGB by individually selecting individual channels. First, the blue channel, then blue with green, and then put red in and you get full color. So that's RGB. Whenever you look at just one channel on its own, it's going to look black and white. And that's just how the computer sees where to turn on lights, where to have them turned off. That's the black. Where to have them turned on, that's the white. Where to have them turned on at a gray, that means they're on at a certain percentage. The lights are either on or off. So that's the red channel. You add green lights to that. The green channel looks like this, very different than the red channel on its own, but you put them together and you get yellow and all the oranges in between the reds and the greens. And then if you add blue, you get full color, right? So what we're going to do is change the mode, change it from RGB color, red, green, blue, to CMYK color. And now we have very different channels. These are the pigment channels. So my blacks, I actually don't have a lot of pure black in my design, right? The darkest blacks are around the drop shadows, and then there's a little bit of solid black in the mouth. That's it. Okay, then yellow, the lightest ink. On its own, this is yellow just in black and white. This is what the screen would be. But if I add black to it, it shows the black mixing with the yellow. And you get the gradation. Then you add magenta, and I'll get all my reds, because 100% red is 100% yellow with 100% magenta. And then with the cyan, I get all my blues and greens. Okay, the problem is printers don't print in grayscale like this. So what I need to do is take each channel individually and convert it to halftone mode. So I'm going to say image mode bitmap. So I think I'm going to have to do grayscale first. So I say grayscale, and I'm going to have to flatten it to do grayscale. And I'm going to have to discard the other channels, everything but yellow. And now I'm going to say mode, bitmap mode. And now this will convert all the grayscales into black ink dots. And I want them at the same resolution that they are, so 350 pixels per inch. I want to use a halftone screen. A diffusion dither looks more random. I want it to look very mechanical. I say OK. Now I'm going to set the frequency, and I want it to be fairly small so that you can see them clearly, so maybe 20. My angle, because this is my yellow layer, is going to be 90 degrees. We need to memorize the angles with the colors in CMYK, and my shape is going to be round. And I say OK. And voila, it turns my image into a dot screen at 90 degrees, and that's my yellow. And then I'm going to save that as my yellow halftone pattern as a PNG to the desktop. Problem is it's black, so how do I change it to being yellow? Well, I'd have to convert its mode back to grayscale at a size ratio of 1:1, so it doesn't change anything. So all the pixels are exactly where they are. And now I'm going to say image mode CMYK color. And now I'm going to select all the whites with contiguous turned off. And because this is only pure black or pure white, I'm going to say select inverse. It will be all the blacks. Now I'm going to duplicate